I think with the attention being given recently to the blood moon, the supermoon, the moon, that now would be a good time to make this video. And I hope that you can see with your own eyes how the moon was created. First, let's look at satellite imagery of the Earth, and in particular the North American continent, especially over here in the west. You got a lot going on here, a lot of stuff, just a lot of mountains. Over here it's just relatively not a lot going on. But when you get over here into the west, you'll notice that there's a lot going on, and this all sticks out like a sore thumb. It's visible fact, and to me it's extremely fascinating. And it's something that I've been studying going on 8 years now, so I'm real familiar with these images. Look at this volcano. This volcano is roughly 400 miles in diameter. These mountains along the base of the volcano, and notice the lava flow to the south. Something else I want you to see. This crack, it runs down, all the way down to about here. That's the Grand Canyon. That Grand Canyon is a product of this volcano. That's how the Grand Canyon was created. This volcano erupted to the north. It ejected these mountains. These are the Colorado Rocky Mountains. They were created by this volcano. They didn't teach you that in grade school, did they? The shock wave from this eruption to the north actually moved these Bighorn Mountains. These are the Bighorn Mountains right here, this mountain range. It used to sit right here, and the force of this eruption slapped it so hard it busted off the tip end of it and moved it from here to here, as you can see. Yellowstone was here before this eruption. Now I'll zoom out a little bit. Now, if you haven't already noticed, just by having your attention focused on this satellite imagery, I'll point this out to you. You follow this ridge all the way around, down through the south, the southwest, over here to the west of this these cascade volcanic fault line, these volcanoes that run through here. They've actually broken through the floor of these craters. This crater from the western rim, that's west of the Cascade Fault line, all the way over to Yellowstone, the pressure blowout of this impact, you'll see that it's roughly 600 miles in diameter. This is the biggest crater on the Earth. Notice the peak in the center, right here. And notice how there's a spiral vortex leading up to that peak. Kind of like these photographs, or this photograph, of a white whale submerging, creating this vortex, this swirl. the same as this vortex and this peak. Now, again, if you haven't already noticed on your own, you'll know, I'll point it out to you. There's two craters. This crater, about the 11 o'clock position from the center peak, is roughly, and I'm guessing, it's about 200 miles in diameter. There were two impacts here, a binary impact. What impacted here either had its own moon or it broke up as it was breaking through the atmosphere. And first, the large object struck the Earth, and hot on its tail was the second object that also struck the Earth, right behind it. So, to get an idea of what happened, this video should give you a pretty good idea of how this happened. And you can see how all of these mountains, starting from the base of this splash, all the way up to Alaska, all of these northern and Canadian Rockies were created by this impact, which is actually two entry wounds, just like entry wounds to a body. The objects that hit the Earth here penetrated the Earth and continued on. These objects exited the Earth somewhere. And the hole that they made is so big, you can't miss it. So I'm not going to waste any time theorizing about where it might be. I'm going to show you that right now. This hole, this is the hole the moon came from. This hole is roughly 2,000 miles in diameter. The moon is precisely, according to conventional wisdom, is 2,159 miles precisely in diameter. Again, if you haven't already noticed, I'll point out the second hole. See how these mountains are pushed up and out with huge force. One huge exit hole and a smaller exit hole right there. These mountains as well pushed up and out with tremendous violent force. Enough force to send this object, roughly 2,000 miles in diameter, into lunar orbit. Now, the large object exited first, with the second object hot on its tail, right behind it. As the primary mass moved away from the Earth, it encountered what was left of the atmosphere. At that point, we had a good collision. This main mass was slowed down enough for the one directly behind it to splatter all over it. like so. All these dark areas, these dark spots, these are impacts from the second exit. When the moon encountered the atmosphere, it was enough to slow it down, just enough for the second exit to rear-end it, creating this Maria. Now you know how the moon was created. Thanks for watching.